get ideas at different times and things that they might be interested in. I also want to thank Mike Witch for being Johnny on the spot from LMC-TV. He is videotaping our program. It will be shown on LMC, usually on Wednesdays at 6 o'clock, channel 75, Verizon, channel 36, files. So you can see it again and then we'll keep playing it again. So I don't know when they're going to do this, but if you're home and at 6 o'clock on Wednesday, tune in and see what we have. It's the program that you've missed. As we keep going this year, we're going to have a number of programs that they'll repeat. So we'll have a schedule of it for you and you'll know, which makes it a little bit easier. Today, Jocelyn Kenner, a life coach and professional organizer, will talk about decluttering. Can you all hear me? Mm-hmm. I'm holding the mic here and talking here. I'm not very smart, is it? Is this better?
No,
I don't think
Not
it's on.
it's not on.
No, it's not. Okay, I'm shocked. This one is on, thank you. Jocelyn is a professional organizer and we'll talk about decluttering. I'm the first one to attack. I have lived in my house for 55 years. I did in the attic once, but I'm sure it has accumulated the same amount that I threw out. I call it the revenge of my children because they're going to have to clean it out for me. And I don't think they're going to be happy about it.
Thank you.
Jocelyn has a diverse background in education and professional organizing. She has a master's degree from Columbia University Teachers College and taught at the Horace Mann School. She also ran a children's educational entertainment company called Mad Science, I love that, and served as an administrator for the Young Children's Music Program at Hofbarthel in Scarsdale. As a professional organizer, she founded See Your Way Clear. Her philosophy is that managing clutter in your home is a form of self-care. She teaches fundamental techniques for decluttering your home so that it looks and feels organized. I think that would be a challenge for you. Lose the clutter and gain some inner peace. I'm really happy for both Jocelyn and all of you, and I welcome Jocelyn. Please begin.
Thank you.
Hi, everybody. So nice of you to be here today. Thank you, Ellie, for inviting me. Has anyone heard me speak before? I'm just curious, because I have spoken at home on the sound. Okay. So yes, I'm Jocelyn Kenner. I've been in the professional organizing industry for 16 years. And if you didn't get my Sweet 16, you get that? What that is it's a list of 16 questions. So when you're home and you are trying to tackle a corner or a shelf or a drawer and you feel stuck, you can look at some of those questions and they are prompts and they will help you figure out how you're going to approach and what you're going to do with the items you're looking at. I also have a raffle at the back table. So if you sign up on the pink slip and put it in the box, when I'm done with my presentation, I will pull some winners. I have 3 prizes today. I have a timer, which I always say the timer is my best friend, and I will explain that later on. I have a wonderful Lucite Lazy Susan sort of container from Martha Stewart. And then I have 2 drawer organizers that you can use in a junk drawer, you could use it in a kitchen, you could use it if you are a crafter, you could use it anywhere in your office. So, as they say on TV, you gotta be in it to win it, so please do sign up for the raffle. My question for you first, and I hope, and if you need to get closer, please feel free to scooch a little closer too, but what brought you here today? Why is this topic of interest to you? Yes, thank you.
because I have too much stuff. And I also have another problem. My office is in my apartment, and I have 6 file cabinets. And
That's a lot of file cabinets.
A lot of file
Yeah,
cabinets.
yeah.
So I'm hoping for a magic answer of how to get rid of everything without this terrible work you have to go through. Which is, there is none.
Well, if I had my magic wand, I would wave it right at you and your 6 file cabinets. But I don't have that. But hopefully you'll leave today with some strategies. And if not, you'll leave feeling like, I can do this. Because looking at 6 file cabinets is very overwhelming. But if we break it down into small, manageable steps and how to attack it, it can get done. It absolutely
I just want to
can.
add that I've been going through them. So this one has 2 empty drawers, this one has 3 empty drawers. So I have to figure out a way to consolidate. But
Absolutely. Oh, so you are making progress.
yeah.
Fantastic.
It seems overwhelming anyway.
Yeah, it does. Yes.
The kids moved out, but their stuff didn't, and then they're putting in more stuff in.
The kids moved out, but their stuff didn't, and they're bringing more stuff in. Okay, let's raise our hand if that's our reality. Come on, be honest. Yes. So as I said earlier, our homes are very often like unpaid storage facilities, right? And I always say it's not a problem if you have the space and if it's up in an attic and it's not interfering with you living your life comfortably and safely, and those are 2 very important qualifiers, then it's okay. It's when it starts to interfere with your life, either you're trying to sell, or it's blocking certain important entrances or windows, and your safety is in question. It's a fire hazard, so then that's when you have to deal with it, right? So, my goodness, there are so many topics on organizing, and in fact, I named my presentation today something entirely different. I called it Organizing to Benefit Your Home and Your Soul. And I told it to Ellie, and she's like, no. That is not a good title. She says, that's not going to hook anybody. So this title, Ellie should go into marketing, because this is her title. I know I put it somewhere, How Decluttering Can Improve Your Life. And I only say that because hopefully my presentation today is general enough so that you will walk away with some strategies of what you can do and how you can move forward with your organizing goals. Does that make sense? Okay. Anyone have any questions before we get started? Okay. So, I'm going to go to the next slide, which says mindset. Letting go of perfectionism when it comes to organizing is really fundamental. And I just want to tell you about a little perfectionism right now, because I brought this remote control that's supposed to work my computer, but it's not working. And I really wanted to connect to the internet so I could show this from a slideshow presentation instead of online with all my borders showing. The Wi-Fi is not working. We were trying to set up the antenna, and I broke the antenna. So I want you to know that when you hold on tightly to perfectionism, I have to do something perfectly, nothing is going to stop you in your tracks faster than that, because nothing is perfect, and you have to let go of that. So some people say, oh, I got to clean out the closet, but I don't have all the supplies I need, so I better not start. Or, I can't possibly finish that project today, so I'm not going to get started. And really what that is perfectionism interfering with your ability to get started and to get moving. Does that sound like it rings true to any of you? I see a lot of nodding heads. Okay. I like to tell my clients that perfection is the enemy of good. I didn't make that up. I think that was Voltaire who said that. And it's very true. And I want you to think of yourselves as the little engine that could. I think I can. I think I can. When we take a big project and we break it down into baby steps, and we do a little bit at a time, you'd be amazed at how much you can accomplish. The evolution of clutter. So we start out saying, I need to be perfect at something, okay? And if I can't be perfect, I'm not going to do it. I'm going to delay it. Either I'm delaying the decision what to do with my things, or I'm delaying getting started. And then we have procrastination. And then what are we left with? What's the end result of the delayed decision and the procrastination? It's the big C, clutter. We have clutter, right? Sound familiar? Yeah? Okay. Okay. I want you to think about in your home, what in terms of your organization is working for you and what is not working for you. And if you have some examples of things where, I can find this pretty easily and I know just where to go and I'm not spending money replacing it and I'm not getting late, I'm not delayed getting out of the house because I know where it is. So who has a system that works for them? Your keys, the dog leash, your stamps, what do you have?
I keep my bills right in my check register so I don't lose them like I used to.
So when the bills come in, they go right into your check register and then you don't lose them. Great. Excellent. That's working for you.
One thing that works.
Okay. But I'm curious, so it sounds like it didn't always work though.
Right, because I was so unorganized, I would get to pay the bills. I realized I had to pay with the checkbook. Well, a lot is on the phone now, but I still have the bill there.
So what changed?
I got smart about one thing.
So if you got smart about one thing, can you get smart about more things?
Hopefully.
Yes, you can. Absolutely can. What else is working for you in your homes? Paying the bills is working. What? Says the cameraman? Oh, I thought he said something. Okay, what's not working in your homes?
Mail,
Mail is not working.
because every day, I actually took a photo of 2 days worth of what came into my mailbox. Junk,
Particularly now.
anything I needed.
Okay.
And so, it's like 20 pieces of mail a day, that's junk mail. What do you
That's
do
junk
with it?
mail. Where do you open your mail?
Usually either at my kitchen table or sitting in my bed watching television.
So you have two places that you typically open the mail
Yeah.
at? Okay. And is there a trash bag or?
Yeah, I actually, I bring one of the paper shopping bags.
Good.
Grocery bags. And
Okay,
just throw
so-
it, as I'm doing it, throw it out.
Mhm. And then the important mail that may be a bill or maybe something that you need to follow up on, where does that go?
It goes on my desk.
Okay. So it sounds like you have a system.
Okay, I was just looking for some magic cure to get rid of the junk mail.
Well, you can, there are phone numbers you can call, there are apps for your phone that you can get where you can take a picture of the label on a catalog and it sends it to the company and they will unsubscribe you, which is very similar to what we do online as well. Or you could just look at the catalogs and just put them right into the recycle bag. And then you're not even registering any energy for it. It's like, I don't want this, and it's easier for me to just to put into recycle. Yeah.
I was at someone's house and I saw what they did with their mail and I adopted that procedure.
Oh, tell us.
They had two beautiful baskets they had. They had one in their bedroom and they had one in their kitchen, sort of family room. And the mail came in, and I was with them, and they came in, and they took the mail and went right into the trash, into the beautiful basket in the middle of the house. And I said, so I bought two baskets, one in my bedroom and one in my living room. And when I take the mail, I literally only handle it once. I take it, and I say, asking for money, and I know what I do if I pay my bill. I give my gifts, my charitable things in December. I do that online. So I just take it, and I throw it in the magazines. I put it in another pile, and it has decluttered my mailing situation, because these baskets are so beautiful. Why would you not use them to put clutter in? And I have it in the bedroom too, for the newspapers. I read it, put it in there, and then on Tuesday night, we take everything out for recycling.
I'm so glad you shared that, because it's almost like what you're doing, but it's something beautiful.
But
You've
it's
used that word a couple of
beautiful
times.
basket, beautiful basket.
So it's attractive, you don't mind looking
you
at
don't mind
it.
throwing something in it.
Yeah, if somebody comes over, there's not a Trader Joe's bag there,
That's
there's a
right.
lovely container there. Okay. Okay, so maybe that's something to try, because you do have a system,
Yeah.
but just something is rubbing you the wrong way about that. But
You
what-
can't unsubscribe, basically.
it's very hard.
I don't.
I agree with you. It's very hard. That's why I recommend that you try to open your mail in the same place every day, if you can, or places, one or two, and that you have all your supplies at hand that you need. So is it a letter opener? Is it a lovely container where you put the recycling, goes right in it? And then also sometimes we get documents that have sensitive information, but we don't want to keep them. They might have an account number, or they might have your social security number, but you don't want to keep it, so you need to have an area where you put things to be shredded. And that could be another pretty container, a beautiful container, absolutely. So you want to make it easy for yourself and make it pleasurable for yourself, so that you're not walking to 3 different rooms to try and contend with the mail when it comes in. So I want you to think about, and I actually brought some cards for you to fill this out, but I've decided that we're not going to do it because we're a small group. I want you to think about a change you want to make in your house right now, that you maybe you even came here today thinking about, this is a change I want to make. And maybe it's helping, motivating everybody for the kids to get their stuff out of the house, out of the attic after 51 years. What's a change you want to make? Yeah.
Not to save everything for later.
Not to
Because
save,
I don't-
okay.
I'll think the mail is important, and then all the other junk mail, I say, oh, that might be interesting, I'll look at it later. And the later never comes, so it's piled up.
Right. Okay, so are we talking not to save just mail, or are we talking about lots of different categories? Everything. Okay, so now so you don't want to save things. And now I'm going to ask you an even more important question, is to identify the why behind your desire to make that change. Why do you want to make that change?
Get rid of all the clutter.
To get rid of all the clutter. Because when you save things, just in case, or when you save things, what if I need this one day? Or when you save things, what's happening is it's kind of encroaching on life, right? It's encroaching on it's accumulating. And so your why is that I don't want this accumulation. I don't want this clutter. Am I saying that correctly? Okay. So that's why when I say identify the why behind the change you want to make, it could be something as globally important as I want to have less clutter in my house. Okay, why? Why do you want to have less clutter? Or it could be something very acute, like I want to have a more organized pantry. Why? What is the why behind that? Well, I keep buying Wondra flour, and then I don't realize that I have a container of Wondra flour. Why did I pull that story out? Because I once had a client and we were rolling on the floor laughing. I think she had something like 7 or 8 Wondra flours, because when she just kept buying it because she couldn't find it. And we laughed about it, but it's a waste of energy, it's a waste of money, and it's a waste of space, because think of all the things she could have stored if she didn't have duplicates of her Wondra flour. So I want you to really think about if there's a change you want to make, and say to yourself, okay, Lois, okay, Eleanor, what is the why behind what is this change I want to make, okay? And please stop me if you have any questions. Yes?
Once you identify why, are
with the mail that I have given you how to do it, is to open it up in the same place every day and to sort it and put it into recycling right away. If I don't get to your specific how, because again, this is a generalized presentation, I do encourage you to call me and we can talk about it. Because we all have our own hows that have, your particular need for help. Okay, organized enough means something different to everyone. What's organized enough to me might be very different than what my sister considers organized enough, or what my best friend, or what my life partner feels is organized enough. And I said it earlier, but I just want to repeat it again, that, sometimes we go into a different stage of life. And something that was organized enough for us in one stage of life is not working for us in another. And in particular, I'm thinking about what if, God forbid, we needed to have the emergency, the EMTs come into our home. Is there enough space for the EMTs to come in and get me out safely? Because after decades and decades of living in a place, sometimes the walkways can get more narrow. And we really have to make sure that everyone's safety is the #1 priority. Okay. Just bear with me for 1 second. I want to also say that some people consider themselves to be visual learners. Do you know what that means when I say that? Like you rely very much on your visual cues. So for you, if things are not visible to you, you forget that they're there. And I'm like that. And I've been like that for decades. I'm a visual learner. So if it's out of sight, it's out of mind. And that's why I like to have my files out where I can see them. But I like to have them cascading up so I can see all of the tabs. I know people who are pilers. They can have a pile of files and they know exactly where every file is, but they like things in piles. So why do I share these stories? Because you don't have to have everything in a file cabinet. That's one way to do it. But you have to understand the way that your brain works and the way that you function best, and you're going to cater it to your own, the way you learn and the way you process information. Okay, let's talk about some strategies. When we bring things into the house, we're shopping, we have to remember that we have to carry things out of the house. Now, I don't mean that if you buy a new sweater, you have to now get rid of a sweater. I just mean keep the balance in the house even if you can. It doesn't have to be the exact same thing, but you should try to be releasing as much as you can if you're bringing new things in, especially now during the holidays, where we do tend to get gifts, right? In the back table, I have a resource sheet that lists a bunch of places that charities will come and pick up from you from your home, and places where you can drop off, and contact information for junk haulers, and whatnot. So you really want to try to have momentum in your home that if things are coming in, things have to go out as well. And I don't want you to get stuck on doing it in a perfectionist way. Would you share the story about the sled that you told me earlier?
I've been in my home for over 50 years, and the attic was spacious, and whenever anyone, children included, didn't want to know what to do with something, we said we put it in the attic. I think the attic floor is going to come down soon, so we started to get some of the things out of the attic. And I had a service person come to fix a window in the attic several months ago, and he saw that we had a flexible flyer sled there. And of course it was there because it was in the attic. And he said, well, you're not going to give that away. That's valuable. You'd send that to an auction house. Someone would love it. And I thought to myself, it's been there for 51 years, and now I have to worry about taking it to an auction house. The result is I haven't moved the sled. It's still there.
Thank you. And that is an example of someone's motivation being thwarted right away. It's like, oh, it's worth something? It could be worth something? A collector might like that? That's gonna stop your motivation right there. What you have to say is, what's important for me? I mean, you could put it out on the curb, and anybody driving by might go, oh my goodness, how cool, a flexible flyer. You could donate it to the Goodwill, or to the veterans, or to the Green Drop. And a lot of these places, they do sell the items that we donate. They sell it for very little money. But sometimes they'll go onto eBay, the charities will, because they're raising money for their charities, okay? Or you could offer it to a neighbor if you have a young family next to you and you have some old toys or some old bicycles or this old sled. Offer it up, but do what's best for you, not because someone else says, but it's valuable.
Made me feel I was losing an opportunity to do something like that.
And maybe you are, and so what? It's what's easier for you in the
Plus, he
moment.
probably would have liked it and then gone to an auction with it.
But would you have gotten what you needed out of that transaction if he took it and he sold it for $100, whatever? Would you have,
No, I wouldn't have felt pleased at that point.
you wouldn't have felt,
I would not have felt satisfied with that.
you wouldn't?
No.
How come?
Because I felt that he came to do a job and he was just giving me his opinion and so it wasn't necessarily one that I was going to buy.
I feel so happy to get it out of the house.
Oh, I could put it out on the curb and have someone take it.
Okay.
Take it to Golden Shoestring.
Golden shoestring, absolutely. And I don't know, you probably know this, but Clark Auction House, right on the Boston Post Road, they have a wonderful program every Wednesday called Walk-In Wednesday from 12 to 4. It's like having the Antiques Roadshow right there on the Boston Post Road. And you can bring paintings or jewelry or silver or anything, and they'll tell you right there if it's worth something. Unfortunately, most of what we have, whether it's china or silver or, you know, paintings or what, there's not a big market for these things. But if you would feel better going to some place like Clark's, you can do that, and I do encourage that. And if something is too large to take to them, you can send them a photo, and they'll tell you by email or text message. They're very accommodating, Clark Auction House, and I believe they're on my resource sheet.
They're very honest.
Okay, let's talk about another strategy. Okay, everything needs a home, a place for everything and everything in its place. I know there's a sweet little girl with all of her toys, and the thing is that everything does have a home. And in where we live, whether it's an apartment or a house, things have to go home somewhere, right? Sometimes my husband will buy something, and you know, I think he just enjoyed the dopamine rush that he got from purchasing something, and he leaves it on the dining room table. And I'm like, oh, that's a really cool gadget, because he's a techie, so he loves gadgets. And I'll say, well, where's that gonna live? And he looks at me, he's like, I don't know. You know, but that's how clutter starts. Because if things don't have a home, then they're just going to stay on the surface. They're going to stay on the floor. They're going to stay on the bed. They're going to go into the spare room, and you close the door every time that you have company come over, right? This is universal. Don't worry. There's nothing that I've heard that I haven't heard before. And it happens to all of us. So, and this premise of everything needs a home, when you're out and you're shopping, and you want to pick up something, I want you to ask yourself, okay, this is great, and I'm going to love it, and maybe it's going to bring me joy, it's going to spark joy, like Marie Kondo said. But where is it going to live? If I have to put it away, where is the home? And that's going to help you a lot with your clutter. Because if you don't have a home, you need to find a home for something. Is it on a shelf? Is it on a closet? Is it on the wall? But it needs a home. Does that make sense? Okay. All right. This is like something our parents drilled into us. Don't put something down, put it away. Just put it away, because we get tired, we get lazy, but you know what? How is future me gonna feel about this? If I come in and I'm exhausted and I'm just gonna take my coat off and I'm gonna throw it on the couch. It might feel good in the moment, but what is future me gonna think about that? Future me is gonna say, I really wish I had hung it up, because when my neighbor rings the bell and I let her in, and there's my coat on the couch, I'm a little embarrassed. So don't just put things down, put them away. It makes things easy. Now, if you don't have a home for something, that's when it gets tricky. That's why you have to have a home for things. That make sense? Okay, like items go together. You know, we instinctively do this in our kitchen. If you think about it, if you open up the flatware drawer, you always put the forks in one section and the knives in one section and the spoons, and usually your pots and pans are all in one cabinet, like they're not mixed in with your glasses, right? Like we have things separated. And this was a picture of a client's desk drawer that we did. And so we put all the paper clips in one section and all the binder clips, and you know, that's sort of a simple picture, but the philosophy of like items going together is really helpful in organizing. So wrapping paper, because let's talk, okay, it's Hanukkah, it's Christmas, it's Kwanzaa. Where's the wrapping paper in your home? Is it in one place? Okay. Is it in 2 places? Is it in 3 places? Okay, so if it would be best if it's in one place, so that you always know what you have on stock, what your inventory is, and you're not wasting time running around looking for where's the tape, where's the ribbon, where's the wrapping paper. Okay? So like items together. Light bulbs. Where are your light bulbs stored? One place? Great, in the closet. Where are your batteries? In a drawer. Okay. What else? What other like items do you keep stored together?
Clothing.
Clothing, absolutely, clothing. Anything else?
Drugs.
Yep, your medicines, your drugs, absolutely. Okay, good. Okay, the magic of containers. This is a before and after picture. This was a client's. They like to keep their medicines in the kitchen. This was a family with 2 young children, and they like to have the cold medicines and the tummy ache medicines, everything in the kitchen, because for them, that was the hub of the home, and that's where the mom and dad wanted to look for the medications. But if the son came home and said, I have a really stuffy nose, the mother or the father or whomever would have to look up, how could you find anything? And so all we did was we categorized everything, we put like items together, and we containerized them. So we made a first aid box, and we made a cold and allergy, and a painkiller box. And, you know, you don't really need fancy labels. That's my handwriting, and that's a Post-it tape, which is like a Post-it note. It's made of the same thing. So that's another place where perfectionism can interfere. You're like, well, I don't have a label maker, Jocelyn, so I can't really label my containers. You don't need a label maker. You could use masking tape. You could use painter's tape. You can use artist tape. You can use Post-it notes. You can use anything. And it doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to work. It just has to work. So containers are very helpful because they do corral items and they give it a boundary. They give it a boundary because if you're overflowing the boundary you have 2 choices. You could make a bigger boundary if you have the space, or you could say, maybe I have too much and I need to edit down what I have. The other thing about labeling is that it encourages everyone to follow a system, okay? This is a picture of someone's recycling bins. So organic, glass, paper, plastic. So there's no excuse that anyone in the family should should be mixing things up because they're very clearly labeled. So they're containerized, like items are together, and they're labeled. Okay. We talked about what the future may want before. There's a funny comedy bit that Jerry Seinfeld does, where he talks about he wants to stay up and watch Stephen Colbert or somebody on late night TV, but it's really late. He's got to get up the next morning and go to work. And he says, yeah, but I really want to stay up and watch this, this person on late TV. He goes, and besides, that's morning guy's problem. I'm night guy. And of course, I'm nowhere near as funny as Jerry Seinfeld. But the point is that we think, well, that's morning guy's problem, but that's future you. So if you don't go to sleep on time and you don't feel rested, the next day is not going to be as much fun for you because you didn't get your adequate rest. So that's why we talk about what would the future me want. The help of a body double. Does anyone know what a body double is?
Those are the ones that do scenes, don't they?
Yes.
Do naked scenes?
Yes. In
Movies.
Yeah, in movies, that's where it originated. Body double was someone who would, either do a stunt or do a sex scene, that kind of thing. But now in psychology, a body double is somebody you're in a shared space together, and you don't even have to be engaged in the same activity, but you are an emotional anchor for the person next to you. Okay, what is she talking about? Well, think about when people go and they work at libraries, or they go and they work at coffee shops. They're going to these places because they like to have the energy of other people around them. They're not working with them, but they feel they get some type of focus from working with people near them. There are places you can go online where you can actually work like through a Zoom camera with other people, strangers. And the only thing you're telling them is, I'm working on a novel, I'm working on a presentation, I'm cleaning out my pantry. And you have an amount of time that you're working together, and then you have to come back and report how you did. So there's an accountability factor for that. The places that I know of, it's called FocusMate, and it's a free service, unless you use it a lot, and then they make you pay. FocusMate, there's Flow Club, I think is the other one. I don't have the third one. I don't remember the third one, but if you call me or text me or email me, I will tell you. But, when I was an elementary school teacher, I gave really bad advice to the parents of my first grade students. I said, set them up a lovely desk in their bedroom with all the supplies they need, and it's quiet, and nothing's going to disturb them. And did the kids want to go and do their homework at the desk in their bedroom? No. Where do they want to do their homework?
By the television.
By the television in the kitchen? Yes. And could the children concentrate if they were by the television or in the kitchen? Most of the time they could. And that's because they liked having the company. They didn't need you to help them with the math problems or to help them with the reading, but they liked knowing that somebody else was there. So body doubling when you're doing an organizing project is a really, really helpful strategy to have. It could be a housekeeper, it could be a partner, it could be a best friend. Of course, it could be a professional organizer. But I want you to know that there are, my daughter had a very big presentation that she had to work on. And she lives in New Jersey. And she said, Mom, can we just go on FaceTime together? And I was paying the bills, or who knows what I was doing, but I was sitting at my desk, and we would do 50-minute slots, because that's usually what they do on FocusMate, so I was trying to emulate that. And 50 minutes are up, and she's like, oh, this is so good, can we do another 50 minutes? And I'd be like, sure. I wasn't talking to her. The sound was off. I mean, I could see her on the screen, and she could see me, but I was doing my own thing, and it was very, very productive for both of us. So I mention a body double because, it doesn't have to be a particular person, but it's a phenomenon I would like you to try to utilize if you can. Okay. Baby steps. This goes back to the little engine that could. When we have a big project, we have to break it down into small little baby steps. If you want to clear out the attic, and that feels so very overwhelming, which I totally understand, what would a baby step to cleaning out the attic look like? Yeah,
zones.
a zone. Could you give me an example? Yeah. Like what? You have,
Oh, well, even geographic zones, you know, from this spot, from the window in the attic to a ruler even that you could lay down on the floor.
sure.
Or whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
But then you gotta figure out what to do in that zone. What are you gonna do with the stuff? George Carlin, I'm gonna share something with you that we heard in Lenox 600 years ago. George Carlin was the performer, and he was talking about organizing, and he says, how come your stuff is stuff, but my stuff is shit?
Yeah.
It's very good in terms of thinking about organizing what you really have there.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's what we were talking about earlier. It means something different to everybody,
Yeah.
right? And we're not here to judge, we're here to help. And there's not one way to do it. There's lots of different ways to do it. But yes, you're right, zones. Maybe if I'm going into the attic, I'm just gonna deal with what's underneath the window. Okay? Yeah.
I recently worked on the basement,
Mm-hmm.
and, you know, years of stuff, the kids, all this stuff. So what I did was, I was working on that basement, and for years, we had bicycles, all kinds of stuff. So I basically put the bicycles over there, I put, you know, other things over there, some furniture that we had over there, and I just put it around, and I realized there was junk that it could actually get thrown out while I was doing that process. So by organizing the stuff, the big stuff, I was able to take care of some of the small stuff that I could throw out.
That's fantastic. And you put like items together also, which allowed you to see how many bicycles you have and how
And I
many.
felt really good about it. I had this really sense of like accomplishment.
Well, you did accomplish something. You got started. And very often the hardest thing is just getting started. Yeah. Ellen?
I've done that in my attic, but then there is always a miscellaneous pile of stuff that doesn't go in any of the other ones, and yet I don't know what to do with it.
Mm-hmm. That's okay. But is that going to stop you from moving forward with the project?
It might.
And we know what's getting in her way, what's getting in Ellie's way. Doing it perfectly, okay?
And they just call them miscellaneous.
Is it that you wanted to give the miscellaneous things away, or you wanted to sell them?
Miscellaneous stuff is what I don't know what to do with. It does not go in any of the categories of old dishes, of paintings, of photographs, that kind of thing.
But isn't miscellaneous a category of its own?
But it grows though.
Okay. All right,
I
well,
don't know what to do with something, you're holding it, it doesn't really go into any of the others.
I like you.
mhm. Did you have something to share? No? Okay.
Well, Carol, we were once at a gathering together, we were talking about organizing, and you said you just file everything alphabetically. Oh, that's true. And I don't do that, but I keep thinking that's a really good way.
It works for, you said Carol, is that your name? It works for Carol. Great, you found a system, alphabetical. You don't have to think about subcategories and big categories. It's like alphabetical. I love it. That's a system.
filing system works.
Yeah. But some people like to have insurance and bank accounts and credit card. I mean, some people like more detail. But for you, the alphabetizing works perfectly. I love it. I love it. I'm so glad you found a system that works for you.
Glad she remembered.
Shocking, but true. I didn't.
And you've been thinking about it.
I've been thinking about it. At one point in my career, I did a lot of editing, and I'm a very good indexer. So Carol's system, although it sounds very attractive, I'm more in the category, I'm more in the camp
Okay.
of broader categories with sub-indexing. But you know, you can shoot yourself in the foot because you get so sophisticated that you don't know whether your financial statement from your bank is in the same place as your letter from your financial advisor, or a cancel a check, or, you know, it gets too crazy.
Right, you raise a very good point, absolutely. So I wonder if there's a way to find a happy medium between the two for you. Because I said it earlier, we're in different stages of our lives, and a system that worked for us in our 20s and 30s may not be working for us in our 60s. You know, so just think about it. I was. All right. So acknowledge your baby steps. You were proud of yourself for getting started, right? And I love this. I stole this off of the internet. Somebody put this on, and I thought, this is brilliant. These are 2 ladders. They're the same size, and this man said, oh my God, such big steps to get to the top. I couldn't possibly do it. And this person just made them smaller. And he got to the top, so they're both the same height. But the importance of baby steps, the brilliance of baby steps is that you'll get there, right? You'll get there. So just think about these 2 ladders sometimes. I said it earlier, my secret weapon is a timer. I love timers. I love them because they help me get started. Because it's like, it's gamifying, right? Can I beat the clock? Or I don't want to do something, so I'll just do it for 5 minutes. And really, the hardest part, and I said it before, was just getting started. Excuse me, because if I set my timer for 5 minutes, what happens when that timer goes off? I usually want to keep going. I'm like, oh, I'll do another 5 minutes. I'll do another 10 minutes, right? So it's just getting you over that hurdle of getting started. When my children were younger, I had timers. This was before we all had cell phones with timers and watches with timers, but I had timers in all the rooms. And it helped them just manage the time so and it containerizes the time too. So you don't feel overwhelmed like, oh, I have to do this task for so long until it's done. You don't. You just can set your timer for 5 minutes. And you'd be amazed at how much you can accomplish in 5 minutes.
That works. That's how I did the basement. That's exactly how I did it. I set not a timer, but I knew I'd work on it for 2 hours. Mm-hmm. That would be it for the day. And then I had the rest of the day to do whatever I wanted, basically. Right. And eventually, I organized the basement.
Fantastic. Congratulations.
Timer is really...
Timer is big. We have timers on our appliances in the kitchen. Really, I use my watch timer multiple times a day. I really do. It's very helpful. And I'm raffling off the timer, by the way. I told you I was. Okay, these are my 10 commandments for an organized home. Let go of perfection, keep like items together, everything needs a home, containerize, label, label, label. And it doesn't have to be pretty or perfect, just label. Use prime real estate wisely. What does that mean? I don't mean buy a house in the manor. That would be using prime real estate. I mean, if you have a kitchen counter, and on the kitchen counter is your KitchenAid mixer, but you only use it 1 month out of the year, which is to make holiday cookies, should the KitchenAid mixer be sitting on your kitchen counter? No. Because that is a space that you could be using for things that you need to access every day, all the time. So think about your prime real estate, and whether it's in your bedroom, in a closet, in a drawer, things that you can reach easily without a step stool or without grunting and bending down to get something. You want to have all the things you use all the time easy to get to. Declutter on a regular basis. That just means, you just want to keep up with it. Like I said earlier, when things come in, make sure things are going out. I recommend keeping a paper bag in the bottom of your closet and keeping one by the washer and dryer, because as you are trying on clothes and you're like, I never like the way this looks on me, or it's itchy, or it doesn't fit me anymore, it should go right in the donate bag. Make it easy for yourself. So have a bag in your closet. And you can have one by the washing machine because if something is dirty, you can wash it and then it can go in the donate bag. Okay? Process incoming mail daily. We talked about that. Devise systems and routines, and be kind to yourself and ask for support. And Carol's way of filing is awesome for Carol, and it's different than your way of filing,
But I keep thinking about it.
Right. I know. So, all right. This is important. Go for good enough. It comes right back to the perfectionism. You know, you could do something at 80% and it's good enough, right? And you've accomplished something. Because that's better than doing nothing at 100%, which would be perfect. And perfection is, forget it, out the window. Don't go for perfection. Go for good enough. Organization isn't about perfection. It's about efficiency, reducing stress and clutter, saving time and money, and improving your overall quality of life. This was a quote from one of my colleagues, and I thought it was so wise and so true. It sort of put everything all together for me. So that's that, and that is my presentation. I thank you